Sawadee-kap. Hello and welcome to Daily Wisdom, Walking the Path with the Buddha. This is part of our mini lessons to help you understand the Eightfold Path. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you Right Livelihood. Right Livelihood will help you to understand how to sustain your life without causing any harm to others through your livelihood. Welcome, pleased that you're here. In order to understand right livelihood, it's first important to understand what is a livelihood. A livelihood is how we earn our living through daily life to sustain our life in a career, profession, or lifestyle. Our livelihood is the work or activities that we do on a daily basis, such as an occupation, a lifestyle to sustain our life, such as a stay-at-home parent, volunteer, retired person, holy life, administrative support, waste removal, cleaning services, doctor, politician, an entrepreneur. All of these and others are a livelihood. A livelihood is how you choose to sustain your life. A livelihood to sustain our own life shouldn't cause harm to others, because if we cause harm through our livelihood, then that harm is going to return to us in our own life. So now that you understand what a livelihood is, let's look at the words of the Buddha on the Eightfold Path where he describes right livelihood. The Buddha shares as part of right livelihood. In what, monks, is right livelihood? Here, monks, the noble disciple, having given up wrong livelihood, keeps himself by right livelihood. As I've shared in previous videos, the Eightfold Path is a core central teaching where the Buddha is sharing a certain level of detail to help you understand the path to enlightenment. And there's other teachings that plug into the Eightfold Path to further help you understand what it is that he's teaching. So here in Right Livelihood, he's just generally talking about right livelihood. But he has other teachings that I'll share with you in his own words that help you to more fully understand what is right livelihood. For example, the first teaching to investigate to understand right livelihood is the 5 trades not to be plied. Monks, a household practitioner should not engage in these 5 trades. What 5? Business in weapons, business in living beings, business in meat, business in substances that cause heedlessness, and businesses in poisons. A household practitioner should not engage in these 5 trades. Remember, Gautama Buddha isn't providing rules or commandments or forbidden activity. Instead, what he's helping you to understand is this natural law of dhamma, of cause and effect, or action and result. Based on the decisions that we make, we will either experience wholesome results or unwholesome results. And when we make unwise decisions, we're going to experience unwholesome results. When we make wise decisions based in wisdom, then we will experience wholesome results. So here, in the 5 trades not to be plied, Gautama Buddha is sharing with you the 5 trades that are going to cause harm in the world. And if you practice any of these trades as part of your livelihood, then you're going to end up causing harm, so therefore harm comes to you. That is business in weapons, business in living beings, business in meat, businesses in substances that cause heedlessness, and businesses in poisons. You can investigate each individual one of these and find examples that if you perform any of these as your livelihood, you're sustaining your life off of causing harm to others, meaning you're having an income or you're acquiring the basic necessities that you need for life based on producing some type of harm in the world. And because of that, harm is going to come to you. You can take a simple example, like business in living beings. If you had slaves or you did human trafficking, this is going to cause harm to other beings and harm is going to come to you. Or if you had businesses and substances that cause heedlessness. For example, if you sold drugs on the street corner, you might get murdered, you might get robbed, you might get beat up, you might get arrested. There's all kinds of things that could happen to you as part of doing this particular livelihood. So the Buddha is sharing with you these 5 categories of trades that you can investigate and look at the world around you and whether you've actually done these trades or that you can see in the news or that other people are doing these trades They're causing harm, so therefore harm is coming to them. So what would be wise as the first step in order to purify your livelihood is to eliminate any of these from your practice. And then the teachings on right livelihood continue in other parts of the Buddha's teachings. So let me share some of those with you. The Buddha shares additional information on wrong livelihood in the following teaching. In what, monks, is wrong livelihood? Scheming, flattery, hinting, belittling, pursuing gain with gain. This is wrong livelihood. So here, once you encounter the words of the Buddha, you don't believe what he's sharing with you. You don't just believe what he's teaching. These aren't rules, they aren't commandments, they aren't forbidden activity. Instead, he's pulling back the covers of the natural law of karma, helping you to see more and more clearly that decisions that you make in your life will cause harm, and therefore harm will come to you. He's helping you to understand how to purify your decisions. Whether you do that or not is your choice. But as you do, you will see the results in your life that as you've cultivated this wisdom, more and more wholesome results will be experienced. So when you encounter these words of the Buddha, the next thing you should do is investigate each individual aspect of this teaching so that then you can understand deeply what it is that he's sharing with you. So I've done this work for you in the book, Developing a Life Practice, The Path That Leads to Enlightenment. This is volume 1 of the 13-volume book series that I share. You can find it in chapter 5 there, but I'm also going to share it with you here so that you can understand each individual aspect of this particular teaching on wrong livelihood. So let's look at scheming. Scheming, corruption, or deception. So you understand that as part of your livelihood, no matter what type of livelihood you practice, given that it's not one of those 5, even if you were a doctor or a lawyer or a politician or a business person, if you were being deceptive and corrupt in your livelihood, this is going to cause problems for you as you interact with coworkers, your boss, your customers, your clients. As you scheme, then it's going to cause problems for you, and you're not going to be able to produce beneficial results in your livelihood. The next one is flattery. Let's investigate this. Flattery, excessive or insincere praise, given especially to further one's own interest. If you're flattering your boss, your coworkers, your customers, and you're giving praise that isn't sincere and is only based on your own interest, you can see very clearly that you're going to be functioning in a way that's based on your own selfish desires. And this is going to cause harm because people are going to see this and they're going to see through that. Instead, if you're going to praise somebody, ensure that it's sincere. The next one is hinting. Hinting, suggesting or indicating something indirectly or covertly. Not being direct, clear, and to the point with one's work activities. Hinting is where you're not being honest with how you're doing your work and how you're conducting your work. You might be trying to hint or point out things to people without being direct and clear. It's best in your work that you're being direct and clear about your work and what it is that you need in order to be successful with various projects and activities or tasks that you're working on. Rather than being covert, instead of doing those kind of things, you can be very direct and very clear with people so that they understand what it is that you need in terms of delivery of projects or help on certain projects that you're working on. The next one is belittling. Belittling, talking down to others in negative and disparaging ways in the attempt to diminish others' work. You can see very clearly if you're pushing people down and you're diminishing people or you're belittling people, you're degrading them in the work environment. This is going to affect you. Whether you're a boss or your employee and you're talking to coworkers or you're talking to your customers or anybody around that you're belittling or degrading or diminishing, while some people might do that jokingly, it really isn't funny at all to disparage and diminish somebody else. Instead, as an enlightened being, you should be uplifting and positive, not focusing on the negative qualities that people are experiencing because they're struggling with those things. No need to point them out. Instead, be uplifting and positive, not belittling. The next one is pursuing gain with gain. Pursuing gain with gain, doing work just for profit or greed without a real interest to provide benefit to humanity through one's livelihood. Here, this is where you're in a job or some livelihood or some activity where you're just trying to make profit. Your only goal is make money, make money, make money, make money. Well, what you're going to learn is that money isn't going to solve all your problems. In fact, the more that you crave money, the more unhappy you're going to be. Instead, in order to get this peaceful, calm, serene, and content mind with joy that is referred to as enlightenment, you need to find a livelihood where you're not just pursuing profit and that's your only goal. Instead, you have some real purpose and some real meaning behind your livelihood. You find it very interesting to the point where you would actually go to work and actually perform this task and this activity even if you weren't getting paid for it. Then you know that you have enthusiasm, you have motivation, you have the will to do something, and you can do this livelihood if you needed to for the rest of your life. Because you're not just pursuing money and profit, because that will actually burn out. Eventually you'll get to the point where you'll just keep pursuing more and more and more and more and more money, and you'll burn out, or you'll realize that you can't get the money that you're desiring, and you're going to be very sad and angry because of that. So if you're in a livelihood where you have deep interest in providing this service or this product, you feel like you're really helping humanity by what it is that you do on a daily basis, then you'll be much more enthusiastic each time you go to work in order to share what it is that you share. It won't even feel like work anymore. It'll just feel like you're going to do something to help other people. And if you focus on helping people in your livelihood, you'll never need to worry about money. So these are some of the basic teachings of right livelihood just to get started in purifying your livelihood so that you're not causing harm through your livelihood and harm won't come to you. Instead, you can build this enthusiastic career or lifestyle in the way that you maybe are a stay-at-home parent, or you are an investor, or you're a real estate agent, or you are a doctor, a lawyer, you do waste removal, you watch children, you're an educator, a teacher. There's so many right livelihoods out there. And if you practice these teachings that I share with you, this will get you up to a level of purification in your livelihood that you will find very rewarding and fulfilling. And then as you study deeper into the Eightfold Path, there's teachings later in volume 12, chapter 14, where the Buddha shares even deeper teachings on right livelihood. But in this little mini lesson, this is enough to get you started. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video, which is titled Right Effort. Sawadee krap.